You washed your hair this morning? You grabbed that bottle, lathered it up, and let it sit on your scalp for 2, maybe 3 minutes. And during those minutes, whatever was in that bottle was absorbing directly into your bloodstream through one of the most porous, vascular surfaces on your entire body. Your scalp. You didn't eat it. You didn't inject it. But scientifically, it didn't matter because your skin absorbed it anyway. And here's what nobody told you. Several of the most popular shampoo brands sold in the United States contain chemicals that are outright banned in the European Union. Chemicals linked to endocrine disruption. Carcinogens. Neurotoxins. One brand was hit with a class action lawsuit over formaldehyde releasing preservatives. Another had its dry shampoo recalled after independent lab testing found benzene, a known human carcinogen, at levels that regulators called unacceptable. These products are still on shelves, still being marketed with words like nourishing, gentle, and clinically proven. What I'm about to show you will change how you shop forever. I'm going to give you the exact brands to avoid, the exact chemicals inside them, and the exact reasons those chemicals should never touch your head. And then I'll give you 2 brands that actually do it right, because they exist and you deserve to know about them. Drop the shampoo brand sitting in your bathroom right now. Let's talk about what's really inside it. Starting at number 10, you probably grew up with this one in the shower. Pantene, the gold standard of supermarket shampoos for decades. The commercials showed silk, shine, strength. Women with hair so smooth it didn't look real, because it wasn't. What Pantene doesn't broadcast is its reliance on dimethicone, a silicone compound that coats the hair shaft so thoroughly it blocks moisture from ever penetrating. But more pressing is its use of sodium lauryl sulfate and parabens, specifically methylparaben and propylparaben, which the EU has restricted or outright banned in cosmetics at certain concentrations. Parabens mimic estrogen. They bind to estrogen receptors in the body. Studies have found parabens inside human breast tumor tissue. Now, correlation is not causation, but when the EU says, restrict this, and American brands say, we'll keep using it, that is a choice. That is a financial decision dressed as a safety one. For women who are hormonally sensitive, pregnant, or on hormone therapy, this isn't academic. This is personal. They knew what the EU said. They kept selling it here anyway. How many bottles have you gone through? Number 9, Head & Shoulders, the dandruff killer, the trustworthy blue bottle. What's inside? Zinc pyrithione, which is effective against dandruff, but also listed as an environmental hazard in the EU, where it's now banned from wash-off cosmetic products because of its toxicity to aquatic organisms after it washes down your drain. Beyond that, Head & Shoulders contains methylisothiazolinone, or MI, a preservative so aggressively linked to allergic contact dermatitis and potential neurotoxicity that the EU banned it from leave-on products and severely restricted it in rinse-off ones. Dermatologists have flagged MI as one of the most common causes of scalp irritation and hair loss that people are mistakenly treating with more Head & Shoulders. You're using the thing that's burning your scalp to treat the burning scalp it created. The label says, clinically proven? Proven to do what exactly? Drop the brand. Let me know in the comments if you've had unexplained scalp irritation. You might finally have your answer. Number 8, Swave. Cheap, accessible, available everywhere. That's the brand promise. And when something is that cheap, you have to ask yourself what got cut. Swave's formulas consistently contain DMDM-hydantoin, a formaldehyde-releasing preservative. Formaldehyde is a Group 1 carcinogen according to the International Agency for Research on Cancer. Group 1. That means the evidence is unambiguous. That means this is not a debate. DMDM-hydantoin slowly releases formaldehyde into the product over time and at a higher rate when the bottle is stored in a warm, humid environment, like your shower. In 2021, a class action lawsuit was filed against Unilever, the company that owns Swave, specifically over the presence of DMDM-hydantoin in their shampoos and the hair loss reported by users. The lawsuit alleged the company knew the ingredient caused damage and continued using it because it was cheap and effective as a preservative. That smell you notice when you first open a new bottle, that slightly sharp, almost clinical scent, that's chemistry. Is this in your pantry or your shower? Number 7. TRE-SEME, another Unilever brand, same lawsuit, same ingredient. TRE-SEME was named alongside Swave in that 2021 class action over DMDM-hydantoin, but TRE-SEME markets itself differently, sleeker packaging, salon imagery, professional language. The betrayal is sharper because the premium positioning sets a higher expectation. TRE-SEME also frequently includes fragrance listed as a single ingredient. And that word, fragrance, is a legally protected trade secret in the US that can contain anywhere from 10 to over 100 undisclosed chemicals. Some of those hidden chemicals are phthalates, plasticizers linked to testosterone disruption in men and developmental harm in children. One word, fragrance. Hiding a chemical cocktail that no consumer can research because the law doesn't require disclosure. Children use tierseme kids. Think about that. Would you risk this for your child? Number 6. Garnier fructis. Fruit imagery. The word natural implied in everything except the ingredient list. Garnier fructis products frequently contain sodium lauryl sulfate, SLS, which is less harsh than SLS but carries its own problem: contamination. During the manufacturing process of SLS, called 1,4-dioxane conform. 1,4-dioxane is not added intentionally. It's a manufacturing contaminant. The FDA acknowledges its presence in cosmetics. Independent testing by groups like the Campaign for Safe Cosmetics has found it in personal care products at levels of 23 to over 80 parts per million. The EU limits it to 10 ppm. There is no federal legal limit in US cosmetics. None. The fruit-scented foam that feels so clean is carrying a contaminant that doesn't appear on the label because technically it's not an ingredient. It's a byproduct. And nobody told you. They kept the green packaging. They kept the fruit. They kept selling it. Number 5. Herbal essences. This one stings because of the mythology, the garden imagery, the supposedly botanical ingredients. BioRenew. The word herbal doing enormous marketing work for a product that contains synthetic fragrance compounds, parabens in older formulas, and polyethylene glycol compounds, PEGs, that function as penetration enhancers. PEGs make your skin more permeable. They're used in pharmaceutical drug delivery systems for exactly this reason. In a shampoo, that means every other chemical in the bottle gets deeper access to your bloodstream. The European cosmetics industry requires PEG compounds to be assessed for contamination with ethylene oxide and 1,4-dioxane before use. The US has no equivalent mandatory testing requirement. You're using a penetration enhancer that makes every other questionable ingredient in that bottle hit harder. The herbs are real. The safety is theater. Have you experienced unusual scalp sensitivity after switching to this brand? Number 4. Aussie. Marketed to young women. Vibrant, fun, recognizable. Aussie's ingredient lists have historically included cyclopentasiloxane, also known as D5, a silicone compound that the EU has banned from wash-off personal care products because it bioaccumulates in aquatic environments and has shown evidence of endocrine disrupting activity in animal studies. Beyond the environmental harm, D5 has been detected in human blood and tissue. It does not break down quickly, it accumulates. And the long-term hormonal implications of repeated, chronic low-level exposure to a compound that mimics biological signaling molecules are not fully understood, because the studies are still catching up to the exposure. But the EU made a call. Australia's own regulators have flagged it. American brands looked at the same data and decided the risk was acceptable. Acceptable for them, not acceptable for your body. Drop this brand. Tell me in the comments, did you even know this was in there? Number 3. OGX. Premium price point. Exotic ingredient names: coconut milk, argan oil, keratin. OGX built its identity on the appearance of natural luxury, and then in 2022, a class action lawsuit was filed alleging that OGX thick and full biotin and collagen shampoo caused severe hair loss and scalp damage. The alleged culprit DMDM-hydantoin again, combined with sodium lauryl sulfate and cocamidopropyl betaine, a compound that the American Contact Dermatitis Society named Allergen of the Year in 2004. The combination of a formaldehyde releaser and a known sensitizer in a product you use 3 to 5 times per week is not a small risk. It's a cumulative chemical exposure. Your hair follicles are living tissue. The sheath around each follicle is sensitive to inflammation. Chronic chemical inflammation from repeated exposure doesn't cause immediate dramatic hair loss. It's slow, gradual. By the time you notice, you've lost thousands of follicles. And the bottle in your shower still looks premium, still has an exotic name on it. They marketed it as luxury. What they sold you was damage. Number 2. Dove. The brand of gentleness. The moisturizing bar, the caring campaign. Dove has spent decades positioning itself as the brand that actually cares about real women's bodies. And then you look at their shampoo ingredient list and find sodium lauryl sulfate, synthetic fragrance, and in several products, DMDM-hydantoin. Again, Dove's parent company is Unilever, the same company named in multiple class action lawsuits over these exact ingredients. The brand identity is compassion and inclusivity. The product reality is the same chemical shortcuts as every other budget shampoo, wrapped in softer messaging. For elderly users, for anyone on blood pressure medications that affect skin permeability, for people with compromised immune function, the repeated scalp exposure to formaldehyde-releasing agents carries amplified risk. And they sold you compassion, they sold you gentleness. They sold you a logo with a bird on it. What they actually sold you is worth reading the ingredient list to decide for yourself. They knew. They kept selling it. Does the brand still feel gentle to you now? Number 1. Dry shampoos, specifically Batiste and the broader category, in October 2022. Unilever recalled 19 dry shampoo products, including some Dove, TRSM-A, and Nexus products, after independent testing found benzene contamination. Benzene is a Group 1 carcinogen, the same classification as formaldehyde. Benzene at any level of repeated inhalation exposure carries risk, and dry shampoo is an aerosol product sprayed directly onto the scalp, directly into the breathing space around your face. Batiste, the market leader in dry shampoo, also uses aerosol propellants and synthetic fragrances in concentrations that independent air quality researchers have flagged as respiratory irritants. For people with asthma, for children, for anyone who sprays this product in an enclosed bathroom and breathes the cloud, this is not theoretical. The FDA tested dozens of dry shampoo products. Benzene showed up in brands people trusted implicitly. It showed up at levels regulators called alarming. The products were on shelves for years before testing caught it. Nobody caught it because nobody was required to test for it beforehand. Is this in your bathroom cabinet right now? Now here's what safer looks like. Vanicream-free and clear shampoo, no fragrance, no parabens, no formaldehyde releasers, no sulfates. It was developed specifically for people with sensitive skin and scalp conditions, which means the formulation standard was medical, grade elimination of known irritants, not marketing, grade addition of buzzword ingredients. It is boring to look at. The bottle is plain. The name is functional, and that is exactly why you can trust it. Transparency through minimalism. The second option, InnerSense Organic Beauty. Certified, organic, B Corp certified, formulated without sulfates, silicones, parabens, synthetic fragrance, or PGs. The company publishes full ingredient transparency and sources to EU cosmetic safety standards voluntarily, even though they're not legally required to in the US. They chose to meet a higher bar. They chose it. Which means every brand on this list that didn't make that choice also made a decision. A deliberate one. These brands prove the industry could do better. They just choose not to. Go to your bathroom right now, flip the bottle over, find DMDM-hydantoin, methylisothiazolinone, sodium lauryl sulfate, synthetic fragrance, or PEGI compounds. If you find them, you now know what they do and why they're in there, because they're cheap, effective preservatives and lathering agents, and the brands using them have calculated that the cost of your health is worth less than the cost of reformulating. Throw out what doesn't pass. Replace it with something that does. You're not being paranoid. You're reading. You're informed. You have the right to know what is absorbing into your scalp every single morning. You now know the truth. What you do next is on you.